people waiting long enough. You know what I mean?
What's good,
We
y'all?
live now.
What's good? Welcome to What It Sound Like. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Blur Cartel. Shout out to, you know what I mean? Shout out to all the musicians that we listen to. Shout out to everybody pushing the culture. Shout out to all the friends and family. And yeah, shout out to everybody who won't tune in, everybody who's tuning in. Shout out to the listeners, and last but not least, and all of that. But you know, my co-host. Oh, you know what I mean? We get together every week, get on some music talk wave, you know. But we're gonna do it a little different starting the season off. We're gonna talk about some music. We're gonna really dive into some music that's not hip hop. You know what I mean? Straight off the cuff, straight off the rip. That's what we're doing.
Yes,
So
sir.
my boy Con Man, he's a jazz enthusiast, so he thought that he'll put us on some jazz. So this last week we've been talking jazz, we've been researching, getting into our history, you know, diving in some documentaries and things like that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. My co-hosts, what's up, fellas?
Hey,
What's
what's up,
going
man?
on?
It's your boy the comment, KJN_man.510. Catch me on Universal Debates, catch me on the round table, catch me on what it sound like when you get your best reviews and interviews and music. And then catch me on the Blur Cartel. We doing well.
Definitely. I mean, Hollywood Sensei of the Blur Cartel, you know, CEO status. You can catch the Blur Cartel on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. We on Twitch as well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, send some stars. Same thing for what it sound like. We're everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You, I mean, send those stars to like, share, subscribe, all that. I mean, it's Hollywood Sensei. We here to talk this jazz. Sorry for the delay. You know what I mean, but yeah, let's get into it, man. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, so how y'all want to start this off? The conversation is jazz dead, right?
Should we just get right into it? Like, should we just all give our answer? Because you know what I mean. When y'all even propose a question, I immediately know that's not dead. But if y'all got some other type of way of thinking of it, you know what I mean, different perspective, please film. You know what I mean, let me know.
Hollywood, you got want to add before I get my piece or
Uh, to be honest, when we posed the question, I haven't really been listening to too much jazz to actually formulate some type of opinion to say if it's dead or if it's not. You know, I had to do my research and look into it. I mean, and from what I've seen, you know, it's kind of like a mixed bag. I mean, some people saying it's dying, and some people saying it's on its way up, it's thriving. So you know, but we going to see through the course of this conversation. Mhm.
all right, so first, like Hollywood said, my apologies for the tardiness. You know, life happens. You know what I'm talking about. But
Crazy.
as far as this conversation is very near and dear to my heart. I know Mallory. She also loves
Huge jazz
jazz.
fan. That's what. Yeah, she here.
Yeah,
She's a huge jazz fan. She could definitely weigh in. Probably give some things that I don't even know.
so
So
Aisha. So yeah, so
What's
there's a lot
going on?
of. I'm currently in a music class in college right now where I'm studying jazz as we speak. Um, and as far as listening to jazz, I've always been had my ear close to the ground. Now, the conversation of is jazz dead? Jazz is very much so alive, but it's kind of like how people were saying hip hop is dead. You know what I'm saying? The origins of what it used to be is definitely not as prevalent as what it was. You know what I'm saying? Jazz, in my opinion, could never be dead based on it's the mother that gave birth to basically all the genres that we listen to
Shout
today.
out to Jorge.
That be rock, rather that be hip hop, rather that be you know,
Country music.
classical arts,
Yeah,
jazz,
country music, all of that.
country music, jazz.
I reckon.
Jazz gave a birth to all of those sounds. And jazz is they call it the American music, as we all know, is created by Black people. But it's the American music because all the cultures in America, as far as the Latin community, white people, they even got people called the Creole blacks, which were like Black people who were of wealth back then. There was real light skin, mixed babies. Basically, the what's the word you be using, Zell? The
Well, Creole,
not the
because
Creole, but we talked about
there's a
this
lot
before.
of there's a lot of French that goes with jazz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
They got
anyways,
they all they go like hand in hand
French
sometimes.
yeah. So basically, all these different sounds are a mix of jazz. Even marching music, even some of the army military music has been inspired by jazz. Even the cadence and the songs that they be like, I hear the choppers hovering, they hovering overhead. Like speaking about those type of blues and the things that you go through to that type of rhythm is all jazz influence. So to say that jazz is dead is to say that the army doesn't exist, or to say that classical music doesn't exist, rock doesn't mix, hip hop doesn't mix. And as far as we talking about music, like I guess to answer the question, is jazz dead? There's current music now that goes over our heads as far as like, is jazz dead, when jazz is like all throughout the album. I know all of us talked about how we all got Lupe #1 for me personally, for album of the year, at least above Joey Badass and Jid. So throughout that whole album is jazz music. All of that whole album is inspired by jazz musicians. You know what I'm saying? There's even a song, I even took a picture. There's a song specifically dedicated to jazz by Lupe. So I'm referencing for everybody else. 1 second. Photos, library, camera.
Yeah, yo, hip hop,
Right here.
jazz got all types.
Naomi by Lupe Fiasco. That is a jazz song. That is a jazz record. If you listen to the music, if you even listen to his words, he even says this is jazz. So all of this stuff has been inspired by jazz. And then Pimp a Butterfly was also made by a jazz musician. I think his name is Chris. Hold on, it's Chris.
Yeah, Kendrick.
Chris,
You talking about Spin Butterfly, Kendrick John, right? Yeah, that was a
Kendrick.
that was a whole jazz influenced album. Yeah.
To be quite fair and be quite honest, To Pimp a Butterfly was the first Kendrick album I heard. I completely missed all of Good Kid, Mad City. All of that was just I wasn't there. I wasn't outside. But when To Pimp a Butterfly came out, I was interested, and when the whole thing dropped, I consumed it, and just that was it. That was the beginning and the end. The clear influence of jazz music was just so present. The through line was just so strong that I could not help but stan, as the youth say. That's how I got to the Kendrick of things, was because of the very clear jazz distinctions all up and through To Pimp a Butterfly. Like, really, really good work on him and the producers and all that. But really, obviously it's his ear for what he's going for. Good. That I think in that way, this is another example of how jazz is not dead in the way that no genre of music is dead. It's just the way that we consume music changed. So your access to it or your exposure to it is different. Like, you're not necessarily going to turn on the radio and just catch the new jazz album, but you have a computer in your hand or you're in your pocket all the time that you could just type the word jazz into your iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, whomsoever, and there they give you the contemporary artists, the classics, the essentials, the who you should know. Anyone so interested in any kind of music, but in particular jazz, should have the wherewithal to go seek what you want, you know.
Yeah,
It's
and
there.
we got jazz and
Go
all
get
type
it.
of scores. We got jazz and all types of movies and soundtracks and commercials. Like, you know what I mean, there's jazz everywhere. There's a need for it. You know what I mean, like that pure jazz. But other than that, jazz is just influencing every single type of music that you know what I mean. I kind of understand the perspective that like it got like diluted over time. Like you're really just kind of just trying to do something that someone else already did is not as original. I could understand that perspective, but the style, like I don't think that's ever going to die. I think you know what I mean things change just like with everybody and everything. It probably even gets a little bit more precise because you know jazz there's not even any like sheet music for it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Right.
over the years, maybe they'll try to, you know, use jazz just like someone could use rap. You know what I'm saying? Like try to
No
control it a
facts.
little bit more. But
Facts.
you know what I mean? Overall, I think it's still alive. We just got a place for everything now. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
You want to chime in, Chris, before I go into more?
Yeah, I just want to, before we go into anything else, I just want to give a shout out to New Orleans, just because that's where jazz originated. You know what I mean? Back in the,
Birthplace.
you know what I mean? That's the birthplace of it. That's where it came from. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And just, I feel like,
Yes.
Yes,
uh,
Here's to
I
New
feel,
Orleans.
New Orleans.
also feel like one reason why somebody might ask the question, is jazz dead, is because like today are there like any like prominent jazz artists that you could just, I mean, as soon as you hear that name, you gravitate to. Like, back in the day, you had those names. I mean, so I'm just, just to advance the conversation, would you, would that be a reason why people would ask that question?
Well, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, because jazz started out as like pop music. It started out as like the popular music of its time. Just the fact
Facts.
that that genre is not the mainstream sound right now. Yeah, of course it would. This, of course, that would sway people and be like, because I even asked like, you know what I mean, people who are a little bit older than me. I asked them like, do they know anything about jazz? Do you listen to jazz? I don't listen to that. I don't listen. You know what I mean? So you know, you just got if
I think you just have to like find your audience. Like people who listen to jazz music are probably obviously able to give, a handful of names. Like who are you listening to right now? Because obviously the standards are always there. They are, placeholders for or the standard bearers rather. But new names, the last 5 years of jazz artists. Uh, I mean, I have a couple, but if you're just kind of like the casual listener who just picks and dibbles in places, you are less likely to familiarize yourself with like jazz artists of today. Who is releasing new projects? Who, a full jazz album.
yeah, because if you want like a top jazz artist like to come and play at your venue or something, there's names for that. Like there's
Yeah.
people that you gotta pay like thousands of dollars to see them. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, there's definitely jazz musician artists that have core fan bases. I mean, it's people that there's a surplus of people that love the genre. So I mean, you're gonna have those heavy hitters, those name in there. To the casual people that don't, dwell into other genres of music, they wouldn't know, obviously. I mean, but that's what we gonna get you into some jazz today. That's what we're here for. We're gonna.
It's not there to the
Mm.
people who
I mean,
seek.
what are some artists who like who do y'all think of when y'all hear jazz? Like when someone brings up jazz, who do y'all instantly think of when that comes up?
Well, see, if you ask me who instantly comes to my mind versus like who
Instantly.
You
is
just
living right now doing it, you know what I'm saying? Instantly when you bring up that, it's like man, Billie Holiday. That's instantly like that's my love. You feel me? And she just came out with a movie. You know what I mean? I forgot the artist. She's an actress who played her. Beautiful job. If I haven't seen Billie
Audra Day,
Holiday, what's her
Audra,
name?
Audra Day, Audra Kelly.
Yeah, Yeah, she
That's
killed that
good.
role. So if y'all haven't seen that movie, give it a look.
Yeah, I seen that
Billie
too.
Holiday is a beautiful story, really close to the African American history culture. Like, what the thing about jazz is what hip hop and rap music is today. Jazz back then was reporting what black people were going through, was reporting politics, was reporting the struggle, was reporting all the ghettos that we originate from or we still currently live in today, which is
Mhm.
why all the popular rap comes from the same popular places of jazz. I mean, he like he said, New Orleans. I mean, other places like shout out to New York. You know what I mean? LA is one of them. What else? Chicago. You know what I mean? Like these are all the best rap places that you know for all these rappers that come from a place of struggle. The times have changed, but the story stays the same. If you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's like this is why our ancestors, you know what I'm saying, as far as jazz go, was able to report what they did back then and what was going on the same way those people, our people of our generations, are still reporting from those same places. You get what I'm saying? She was
Those some good names.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Miles
we got
Davis, exactly. Yeah.
G. Louis
There's a
Armstrong.
if you guys are looking for young artists that are in jazz that are like very popular, if you go on YouTube, look up Emmett Cohen. Is EMMIT.
No, we gonna
Oh,
get to
go
that.
ahead. Oh,
We
go
will.
ahead. Oh,
We
my
put
fault.
That's,
I'm jumping ahead. Excuse me.
no, no. But Zell, you said who do you think of
Yeah.
when you hear the word jazz? Who do you?
Who do you think of?
For me, I mean, we already seen the name, but like I think of like Miles Davis or John Coltrane, Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker, those
Mm.
type. I mean, I think of those type of names. You know what I mean? When it comes to jazz, I mean, like I know a lot of the old school stuff. You know what I mean? The classic, but I've been listening to a lot this week, and I've discovered a lot of good people. You know what I mean? A lot of great artists. You know what I mean? So we definitely gonna get into that later on in the show. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, but those are the people I think of as soon as I hear the word jazz. I mean, I instantly those names are instantly the ones that pop up.
So to the point that Zell brought up about it not being like basically you can't read jazz off a script. So just the way that rap is back then was basically like, oh, based on improv, based on you being able to freestyle and come off the block and just be able to do what you do, was the same way jazz was back in the day. And that's the reason why jazz, like they say, if you was a jazz artist, you was a pioneer, you was an artist, you was an innovator, you know what I'm saying? Because you're coming up with you coming up with on the spot art. But to also not say contradict it, but at a certain time, a man named Duke Ellington did start making a script to jazz music so that people can start like replicating that music for it to go like push forward, you know what I mean, to be more like radio like, you know what I'm saying, instead of it being like this freestyle music um that people from all different cultures would come together and just create. Then he started to actually make it a tangible art form where certain people can start replicating that art that was pushed out from back in the day to smooth jazz stations, of course.
Yeah, WJJZ 106.1.
One of
Oh yeah, yeah.
those.
That's a WJJZ. That's that.
That's the one.
Nah, yeah,
You
that
know what
used
I
to
mean? We grew up on that, Joe.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's
did.
where I discovered Stevie Wonder growing up. Yeah, man.
That's,
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I saw I heard in one of the documentaries someone said it was like jazz, freedom of speech, both come to like improvisation. You know what I mean? Like a big part of jazz is that improv, is that like was is like kind of defined by like blue notes, which is like playing notes a little off key
our notes aren't there.
just for expression purposes. Like so it can vary from person to person. That's crazy because that's what expression is. So it's just yeah, so if that's what is defined by, it just shows why so many different people came together to make this sound, because it's like just like people who get around for ciphers and freestyles, like everybody kind of got their own different flow or their own different twang, like, and
Mm-hmm.
it just goes to show like that jazz like kind of just changed the world. Like it was
Yeah.
such a powerful force in the world because that improv is show you that improvisation is strong. Like mistakes can be recorded and captured and
Right.
still drive the point. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah,
To
jazz did a lot for us.
to touch on what Zell said, so like how people would get in a cipher today and they'll spit whatever they spit, right? Like we all know New York have a certain tone or a certain rhythm that they spit to. We all know that Cali people, when they spit, they have a certain rhythm in a way that they phrase things in order to like have that Cali sound. The thing about jazz back in the day was that jazz was close enough to our roots to where they were replicating African music. It wasn't just like Americanized black people. This is a sound that came all the way from our roots, from certain tribes. So people from certain sounds that you would hear within the jazz music, people would represent, I mean, or not just represent, but people can recognize what tribe or place that person is coming from, rather that be, okay, you came from New Orleans, or you came from this part of Africa, or you came from Cuba. Cuba is another place that heavily influenced jazz as well. So it's like there's all these roots of culture within the sound of the rhythm, because only certain instruments were from certain places, so you could definitely recognize what strings were being played based on that sound that you were hearing, which made jazz so beautiful, because it was a story or a conversation being had between two different type of cultures and all being in one unison.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having an accent, like the way you play and what you're playing to get the point across, essentially,
Exactly.
is so derivative of where you're from and what you've heard before, that you can chart like regions just by listening to the music.
Exactly.
Pretty fucking rad.
Yeah, it shows that like it's like alive. Like even dolphins got like accents depending on where you find them in the world. Like obviously you're gonna have,
It's funny, but it's facts.
yeah, like even of course something that's like jazz, like you have your own different inflections to, and then you mesh them all together. Someone said jazz is what happens when African and European sounds collide. Like, and that's why you even find a lot of like white artists in like jazz, in the jazz, you know what I mean, sound. You watch documentaries, you see I'm seeing a lot of, I thought this was just a black, no, this is like the world colliding, like this is a movement. It's crazy, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the most like preeminent jazz icons, not most, but some,
Mm-hmm.
are white. They're white people.
It's crazy.
Who
Definitely.
just so deeply entrenched in the music, I guess, of where they were at or where they came across it, and they were just like, I need to know everything. Please let me in.
So let me touch on that, man. And I don't want to take away from our white audience or members or I ain't gonna say brethren, but neighbors. But neighbors. Okay. So they're speaking about white people, right? We all know who Jim Crow is, right?
Yes, sir.
See, it makes me choke too when I hear it. But
Okay.
Jim Crow, right, during these times, because you gotta understand that slaves during this time, when they was creating this music, they couldn't stop the genius of our people, right? We had scraps. We didn't have guitars and drums that was, made to be able to make these sounds. We came off of boxes because like New Orleans is a trade place, is a big slave trade place, and all these boxes and all that stuff and all these like wooden tools that these slaves were able to get a hold on after people were done train off these goods, where take them and make sounds. You know what I'm saying? But based off of that, the reason why I think a lot of white people were able to get into that genre was because we weren't allowed on the main stage. We weren't allowed to demonstrate our genius and be like, oh, check out this slave, that I have to play this amazing music that we all love. They would literally allow like white people to basically steal from jazz music from black culture and do blackface to play that same music. And so obviously you will get a lot of white people to take or be the face of jazz because black people weren't allowed to. Speaking of Elvis Presley, that's another person who stole from blues and stole from jazz. That was our music and was the main.
Hold on. Elvis stole rock and roll. Let's keep it.
Well,
Right.
That's
keep it
where
on point.
no, he's
If
so.
you've seen that newest Elvis movie,
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah, that's
all I'm saying is like there was people involved in the jazz movement that didn't care about, like, you know what I mean. They weren't sitting here trying to put blackface on. They was really trying to spread the movement and spread jazz.
That's fine. That's later on. I'm talking about in this time in its conception. I mean, it's
So,
literally
are
a
we
dude
saying
that
that- Are we did jazz start in like the 19?
it started earlier,
Actually,
1838.
But it reached like its crescendo to the masses. Like, okay, in 1927, the very first feature-length motion picture, period, is The Jazz Singer, starring a white man, Al Jolson, in full blackface, the lips, the whole thing, plays a black man who, you know, wants mama, I just want to sing type shit, and wants to get famous for his funky new sound. Let me show you.
No, I know what you're talking about. All I'm saying is like because you're saying that's 19 what?
That movie came out in 1927.
That's what I'm saying. That's 1927. If it started in the early 1900s, like early 1910, like if you're coming at like 1910 and on, like yeah, that's a lot of time to go on for jazz to blow up for you then to make a movie about it. You know what I mean? Like so, like what? Yeah, the Howard was open in 1910. That's where all the black people were going to like do their music. Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, that was
black people had
their
their joints where like we are down here playing the music that we want to play. Where he's talking about like we're gonna show up until 2:00 in the morning just to start the show. Like it was a very inclusive community, which is how in the 1920s you also start to see American legislation change in response to the rising popularity of jazz, like the outlawing of marijuana, not just because of how, you know, that was going to interfere with Hearst's hemp, monopoly, but also because jazz musicians were associated with smoking dope, and white women would go on down to the black shows with the musicians, and they'd be smoking the reefer. And now you've got white women dancing to this bebop jazz. It's just listen.
Not the white women.
It knocked the Americas upside the head, and they responded.
No,
So
they literally called. Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, so we pretty much established that jazz isn't dead, right? We pretty much established that.
Have not.
I mean, so I want to move on because we've been dibbling dabbling.
All right. I mean, we can go. I could go more in because you know what I'm saying.
What? Yeah. What are we going to now?
We've been dibbling dabbling within one of the topics as jazz's influence on other genres of music. I mean, we've been talking about that. So you know what I mean.
Segue.
Now we get, you know. So I just wanted to get us into that. You know what I mean? Because we know.
So the next question is, how has jazz influenced other forms of music?
Yes, sir.
Who wants to go first?
I mean,
dude, why did you take a big drink before?
Well, yo, look, I feel like anytime you're hearing improvisation, anytime you're hearing someone really lean into the music, when you hear the vocals that aren't technically right but they sound good because you hear the pain in it, I feel like that's all jazz. But
I think even like as you say, jazz is a language of improvisation. It's a language of inspiration. So you're going to take maybe a rough draft, a jumping off point, and see where it takes you. I think jazz has influenced almost all aspects of music in that before that, a standard was a standard was a standard.
Yeah.
You sang it the way the person sang it before you because that's how they know it. And that's how everybody likes it because that's how they know it. So that's what you do. Where the performance of jazz was really like, y'all can kind of hear, and this might just be like a jam session. Like we're just kind of riffing off of whatever. And it may not ever be played the same way twice. So now any kind of non-jazz song, you know, the album version may sound different than the concert version. You know, they give you a different arrangement because jazz. Because you can take this song and mix it up 3-4 different ways, and it's still the song, but you're packaging it differently for maybe your audience or maybe for yourself or
For
whatever.
yourself.
Just like the idea that the music is not immutable.
Mm-mm.
It's fluid. You know, you're just taking a walk somewhere that who knows where we'll go? Who knows where we'll end up? Maybe the song that's usually 4 minutes is like 17 minutes tonight, okay? It's just you're just here. Come with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to touch on what she said, that's another thing that even my teacher said yesterday, not yesterday, this week, where he was like, back in the day, jazz was, one song could be like 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Versus nowadays, people don't even have the attention span to listen to a one record that can go on for 5. You know what I mean? Just 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Everything's condensed to like 3 minutes tops. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like jazz, like you said, tells a story. And you can't and they go from minors to majors to all types of musical sounds to make you know the tone in the emotion of what they're talking about. That's why in jazz there's so much improvisation, because there's a story from every tribe. There's a story from every person from where they come from. So everybody has their own little solo act where it's like, okay, I'm doing my little guitar spot. Boom, okay, you take away with the keys. Okay, boom, you take away with the bass. Okay, boom, you take away with the drums. And every single person is telling a story when they took their solo spot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people don't give music that opportunity anymore to tell the same type of stories. You know what I mean? To have that long conversation to be had. But as far as it influencing everything, yeah, breaking the standard of having everything to have to be precise and have to be a certain way, and being able to say we can mix sounds is basically like as I just brought up like Jim Crow and stuff like that. If you think about it, jazz was the first like not multiracial, what's it called when you mix races,
Interracial?
Multicultural.
not multicultural, but basically after Jim Crow laws went away, when we start blending communities and all that
Integrated?
let's just use that. Jazz was the first integrated music, you know what I'm saying, where it was like it broke the laws of we're all segregated. You know what I'm saying? It broke the laws of, yo, this is black music, yo, this is white, yo, this is Hispanic.
Yeah, exactly.
Jazz
Jazz
everything.
was its own.
Jazz was the first sound where it's like there is no, oh, this is a what sound, this is just a sound of, like you said, inspiration, a sound of celebration, a sound of breaking chains. And speaking of breaking chains, if anybody, you know, if you religious like that, that's a famous religious song. Jazz is also heavily influenced by the Baptist church, you know what I'm saying, in the way that they do hymns and the way that they do music, you know what I'm saying, that was heavily influenced by Baptist church as well, and putting music back into the church and how they do music. So again, like I said, to say that jazz is not alive, it's like saying, okay, you don't go to church. You know what I'm saying? You never been in the military, you never listen to classical music, like, because jazz has influenced everything. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
Became
Gospel
like,
music. Oh, my bad. But gospel music, if you go to church and you hear them just riffing on the organ and on
that's jazz.
and keep drums and keep, that's all jazz, man.
That's jazz.
Mm-hmm.
That call and
Just wanted
response,
to,
all of that is jazz.
That is facts.
I heard in a documentary that I was watching on YouTube, I think it's called Historia of Jazz, episode 1. That's what I was watching today. One of the quotes, I forget by the person who said it. I wrote down a lot, so I don't remember the exact name, but he said that while how we was talking about church, he said from one aspect of jazz, right? Because he said jazz can be the blues, which is really sad, and then it can be upbeat, as in inspiration. You know what I'm saying? So he said on one hand, it could be saying the same thing, but from two different aspects. From one person, it'd be like, oh, God, save me from my situation, and then from another aspect, it'll be like, save me from master. You get what I'm saying? So you got it from the religious aspect, where it's like a spiritual, like uplifting. Yo, God, like get me from these ruins, get me from this horror that I'm facing every day. Versus, okay, get me from out of this enslavement that I have to this country. You know what I'm saying? From white man, get your foot off my back type of music. You get what I'm saying? So
Right. I mean, to touch on and to chime in, I mean, I think some of the like biggest factors of jazz's influence is like y'all said already, the improvisation that goes into it. I mean, I feel like my bad, I'm reading my notes and shit. I mean, it's the artistic innovation of jazz. You know what I mean? Of that's definitely something that's heavily influential. You know what I mean? And like Craig said, the inclusion of all music. You know what I mean? How it, broke barriers. Like it's not just for this people, it's not just for that people. It's universal. It's a universal sound. You know what I mean? And then the elements to jazz. You know what I mean? Jazz has a melody. It has a harmony. It has a rhythm. You know what I mean? All that influences other genres of music like rap, rock, pop. You know what I mean? So
shit.
yeah.
It even influenced dance. Like people, you know what
Dance
I'm saying?
too.
Like
Yeah.
Bigly.
even just
Anything that you just like straight from the chest, like just
Even
throw out there.
Right. If you're
it's-
not following the steps before you start, it's jazz because
It's-
you're
yo,
making it.
even poetry is influenced by jazz. So,
facts.
Yes,
you know
Like
what I mean?
people who what's that talk? Tap dancing. That was directly from jazz. You know what I'm saying? Then you go into that. That's how you get into hip hop and people how break dance and all that stuff. Like, bro, jazz has literally been the pioneer and the innovator to all of these genres of music and dance that we love today.
That
Like,
too is why they call jazz the American genre of music, because it exclusively was born inside of America by the various immigrants and natives around them. Like, just it was born completely and totally right here. Like, to then splinter off and create, every other conceivable genre of music that we know today. Just really,
Yeah.
so
like,
let me-
to touch on what she said before we skip on to another topic, I just want to say that remember how I said that jazz goes all the way back to Africa, right? There's a
Right.
famous beat, right? A famous step.
Mhm.
It's called a 6/8 beat, right? Which is like a sound that directly comes from Africa. It's called the uh the mother sound. So basically, like, because Africa birthed us all, it's called the mother sound, where it's like that beat of swing. That's what they call it, swing. A swing beat in music. If you get into music, you'll learn what swing is, right? So swing, when you get that beat of allowing other sounds to be able to be mixed and have that beat. Like, even the reason why they call it the mother beat as well is like when you go into like a womb of a mom and she listens to the heartbeat of a child, usually it's the 6/8 beat. So it gets in, it's really deep. Like the sound of jazz literally comes from like the conception of like not just art, not just music, but of people. You know what I'm saying? And then getting past that, I'm trying not to miss all my points, but even just speaking about like cartoon characters. I mean, what's her name? Lisa from The Simpsons? Jazz.
Bleeding
She
Gum
playing the
Mercy.
saxophone. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's current
like
till
real
today.
jazz. Like, she was like for real. Like, she wasn't even a bullshit about it. She was like a studied musician.
Mhm.
I don't know how many of you were around for this, but there was a Simpsons album of music put out in the early 90s where real live jazz musicians accompany Lisa on her songs. Like
Mhm.
even who else? Pink Panther. Well, if you kids watch it,
Mhm.
Pink Panther didn't even say nothing. The whole score is just fucking awesome jazz music.
Right.
No reason to be as good as it is. Funky as shit. You just turn the shit up and watch the cartoon. Great, just a great time. Really good time. The way jazz is infused in, other media, just
Yes.
It's literally like just giving instruments lives of their own.
I'm going to get some more
Mhm.
brown.
You know what I mean? It's literally just breathing life into any instrument that you pick up. And it's
Right.
like the instrument is playing by itself. The instrument can't read music. Instrument can't abide by the little steps that you got. So it's going to just play and it's going to just breathe. You know what I mean? And that soul
Right.
wing, that style is going to kick in. You know what I mean? And
The
So I
last thing.
want to ask this though.
Oh, go ahead.
My
Go.
bad.
Oh,
I ain't
all right. Last thing.
No, yeah, go ahead.
The same way how you just saying how jazz brought life into instruments, bro. The things that black people did with instruments was crazy. Like, bro, they would literally take off their hats and with horns would put the hat over the horn to make a different sound, bro. Like the same way to just match a sound when people are like doing a certain vocalist sound, they would do a certain vocal what they I ain't gonna pause, but they throat and all that stuff to make certain sounds and what the hat to mimic singers. You know what I'm saying? That other musicians could not do because only black people was doing that type of like creativity with instruments, bro. Like another thing is what we talk about like scatting or people that do that shibbity doo doo like that type of stuff. People don't understand that where that originated from was the fact that we were slaves when we came here. We wasn't allowed to learn English. We wasn't allowed to speak. So the sound that we heard from English people speaking would be broken English of a sound to sing. So that's why it would not be a word. It would be slaves trying to make music, trying to sound English, but it wasn't English. You get what I'm saying? It's like, making a sound that sounds beautiful, but it doesn't have context. You get what I'm saying?
It was meant to mimic the music note, like
it transitioned. It transitioned into that.
It started that way, and then it transitioned into doing it for the music notes.
All right. So the question I was going to ask: which genre of music has jazz influenced the most? I mean, that's the question. We know it has influenced almost everything. But where is it?
Most likely, I'm the most. You know what?
Wait, I have to
Most likely, rock and roll.
I probably lean that way.
We got R&B. I mean,
R&B.
I feel like that's not that far.
Somebody's writing you.
Deviation.
You know what I mean? Play the same tune almost every time. Rock and roll, real diverse. You know what I mean? You can just you ever hear Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna say Bon Jovi. But go ahead.
This dude can barely sing, right? This dude can barely sing, but the words that he's saying, you could feel that come from the heart. He's riffing on the harmonica in between verses.
He uses even the way he pronounces things
bro.
to rhyme or use as a note in itself, like to make something the rhyme that didn't. He'll kind of change the inflection of the note, and then now it sounds like the last one. It's
the rock and roll like drum solos and guitar solos that you get like in between like features. You know what I mean? If you catch them live, they'll let somebody go off. Like everybody step back, let them go off. Come on.
So Zell, your vote is rock and roll.
Yeah,
I'd co-sign
I think it's rock and roll, man.
Because rock and roll itself is such a broad umbrella.
Rock and roll, you get scatting sometimes too.
They do. They're like, they just
they do. That's true. Rock and roll more than likely is going to win but in my vote, I'm gonna go hip hop. I'm
No,
going hip hop.
Also makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean, really,
I,
almost
I,
any
I
answer.
almost picked hip hop, but I was like, they don't play enough instruments as rappers.
That's what, but see, it used to. That's the thing. It used to, and they still got live bands today. Like they got, like I said, we just named a couple of albums that got jazz. But it's
I mean, like the rappers themselves.
As the resident old,
You know what I
I
mean?
do agree that one of the things that I've lost a lot of my mojo for the more current rap and hip hop music is largely because I'm a big fan of instrumentation, and there's just not a lot of it to be found. Like I don't need
especially
to
not mainstream
with
rap.
a little bit of strings over your bit. Like just come, somebody play something, please. I beg you, I dare you.
Yeah, bro. I'm tired of hearing you hit the space bar and B and Q.
Listen,
I'm begging.
Niggas want them trap beats now. You know what I mean? They don't,
I can't, and I won't, and that's why I can't really play and join in the reindeer games about some of the discussion.
That's a reindeer game.
I can't, and I won't, and it's because they're just so
hella funny
and so modern. It doesn't speak to me because the instrumentation is gone. The melodiousness of the music is gone. It's just a driving beat that's like hitting you in the head, and I'm just like, okay,
you know what she said to me one time? I'm sorry, I'm about to look. She was like, you know what rap sounds like to me sometimes? It's just like fuck you for listening to this song. Like
some of it sounds like punishment. Like, oh, you listen to this?
That's facts. That's what Phoenix just said.
That was so funny to me. I'm like, I know where you're coming from. Yeah, but
I mean, I might have to agree on the R&B though. I mean, and the rap, but rock. I feel like, to be honest, I feel like it's just a 3-way tie between those.
They're just
I thought you was gonna hit us with the lyrics of the day. I thought it was gonna be an answer to this. Like I thought it was a legit answer. I was like, okay, let's see, because I was interested.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's low key a 3-way tie. If I had to edge one above all the others, I'd probably go hip hop. You know what I mean? Just because, you know what I mean, it's all the elements of jazz is always like sampled within like an instrumental, even if it's not like the whole beat. Like it's just always a portion of some type of jazz music within a hip hop song. I mean, especially like early hip hop and those that still, you know, stick to the more like traditional way of rapping. You know what I mean? Right. You know, and not
those rappers be having reference tracks and they be letting other rappers write their songs.
You know what I mean? But we talking the ones that actually
jazz. Bluegrass too. What the fuck?
Bro, I wrote that down. That's what I'm saying. So much I got to talk. He cut me off.
No, bro.
You can go on.
Jazz got like reggae influence and whatnot now.
Literally like, everything, everywhere, all at once. It's always there.
By the way, I just want to mention how this has been my favorite homework besides the Netflix special. That's one of my favorite episodes. This is one of my favorite episodes. And then Lupe Fiasco, which also connects to this episode, has been all my favorite homework. Like this, if you can look at my face or the excitement in my eyes, even though I look tired as shit because I've had a long day, bro. Like this has been my favorite, like excitement for this, for like the homework, for the discussion, like even just talking to everybody and what they bring into this table. It's like, bro, jazz is such a lost conversation to be had in our community now, bro. Like people, like we all black, so we all go to the cookout where we listening to, you know, Luther Vandross and all this beautiful music from back in the day that was influenced by jazz, but nobody talks about jazz in particular. So I'm just happy that we giving a shout out and respect to the genre that birthed all genres.
Fact.
I said pulling out the rap the paper.
Yeah, that's when I was giving y'all the notes on the Nah, that was when I was giving them notes on the rappers. They were reciting each other bars, like you know what I mean, cover songs. But nah, I was just playing. But yeah, jazz, jazz is really lost conversation. A lot of people are sleeping on jazz. Just about the amount of people who I feel like jazz needs a lot more respect than it gets. But you know, that's how it's always going to be. jazz is always going to be there. It's always going to be in the conversation, but it's probably not going to get all the respect that it deserves. But it's going to be timeless. It's always going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
get rid of it.
And you saying that? I mean,
Segue.
segues into the
Anyway,
into the next. You know what I mean? So, you know, I did some research this week. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all did as well.
Talk
I
your shit.
mean, so, you know, who are some jazz artists that you stumbled upon or you came across that the audience, the people listening, people watching, that they should, you know, start tuning into? I mean,
all right, look.
and also we have a jazz album for the album of the week. I got it in there.
All right, say no more. I'm the freshest. I feel like I'm the freshest ears. So I'm going to drop Esperanza Spalding. She's fire. I'm going to drop.
Okay, I see you. Where you pull that one from? Wifey help me with that one?
On this documentary I was watching. She's fire.
Okay. I like that.
She was.
I like that. That was a nice one.
She performed in front of like Michelle Obama and shit, and Barack and shit. Like she's fire, bro. Like
you got that one, Zo.
Had to write her name down.
You got that one, Zo. You got that one.
William Knowles, he's fire. I just found him just now. He's a dope artist. You got somebody for them?
yes. The last like new album that I downloaded, which was really still like 3 years ago, because I'm a fan of hers. Her name is Cecile. What is it? Cecile McLaurin Salvant.
Back in the day, right?
No. Her album came out like she's current. She's in her 20s.
Oh, okay.
She was called one of the greatest contemporary jazz voices right now. She has an album called The Window. Very good. Some of it's in French because jazz is often French. But it's really strong. Another one, I don't know if we caught it, but the movie Sylvie's Love that came out in the last year or two with Tessa Thompson. It was a really great movie set in the late 50s, early 60s, but the entire thing is scored with original jazz music, and it's fucking lovely. So for, you always can look up any jazz classics, but if you want something that it's current, but it's still very much in the standard, I recommend those two. The soundtrack to Sylvie's Love and Cecile McLaurin Salvant. But the album is called The Window. It's yellow. You'll know it when you see it,
I don't know, because you said Cecile, and I was thinking about she's like a Cuban or a Dominican woman from back in the day. She used to
Cruz.
There you go. That's who I was thinking about. So
she also great singer, lovely woman. But for the recommendation of like current-ish jazz artists that you might not be onto, I recommend Cecile McLaurin. She's good. She's good business. And other jazz singers of today, check for her. So
I also have Emmett Cohen on my list.
You heard me say earlier.
Come on, Zell, you cherry pick.
Put a carpet underneath me. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's on my list.
That's crazy.
He was listening. You see, he was tuning in. You know what I mean? I got the same.
All right.
Cross that off.
I'm gonna cross it off.
That's not his suggestion.
You can say it now.
It's late. Oh, that's cool, man. Hey, I'm happy. I just like I said, I'm just happy about the whole conversation about jazz. I mean, I'll just let Chris Smith be my influence to say for y'all to listen to, since he's still current. He did Chris Smith. He's the one who did Pimp a Butterfly with Kendrick Lamar. So he's the jazz musician who influenced that whole album. So yes, Emmett Cohen is a more younger jazz musician who I do believe y'all all should listen to. That's literally homework that my jazz teacher told me to tune into. So yes, listen to Emmett Cohen, but also go into Chris Smith.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know if he was the one who did Ab-Soul's outro? It was on Kendrick. It was on Kendrick's album, but the name of the song is called Ab-Soul's outro. It's like, what's your life about? Enlighten me.
I don't know. I have to do the homework, but I'm assuming that he was the only one. Yeah, I'm assuming he was the only one.
Crazy. I love that song.
Bro, hold on. Speaking of, I'm glad you said that. Speaking of, Mac Miller. Mac Miller had Larry Lavenstein on a song called Velvet Revival. So that was also jazz.
Right.
So I just wanted to also drop somebody like that. So Larry Lovestein, that's the jazz musician. So people who like Mac Miller, I'm sure a lot of people do. You know what I'm saying? That feel me? Jazz is not dead. Is all I'm saying.
Some of the folks I ran across. You know what I mean? You know,
there we go.
Shout out to Philly. I ain't in no ball until I started listening to him. But Christian McBride, he from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Fire jazz artist. You know what I mean? I just
Where you got music on? You got music on Apple and everything?
It's on Spotify, Apple. I'm pretty sure all that. You know what I mean? I just discovered him. You know what I mean? I've been Robert Glasper is another one. I've been tuning into him. Corey Weeds. I just discovered him. Braxton Cook, who is the album of the week. You know what I mean? Daylight Robbery. And the last two, I got James Brandon Lewis and Jesse Ryan. You know what I mean?
Another famous person I want to speak about when we talk about jazz and the blues is R.I.P. to my man, James Brown. James Brown was like the king of blues music, but it was, labeled something different. But if you listen to the music, it's all heavily influenced by jazz and the blues. So James Brown definitely got to get that shout out, man. Shout out to a king, man.
Thanks. Godfather of Soul.
You feel some type of way about James Brown? Is that what that face is for? Talk your shit.
I forgot about my face. I mean, I like James Brown songs. I was listening to a couple today, but every
Say
time
it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. What?
That was literally the one I was listening to today.
Okay.
But I also have an undercurrent of like what you know about a person outside of what they do for work can influence how you just feel about and hearing them in general. And some of James Brown's, how can I put it delicately? Misdeeds. Some of his misdeeds so vividly color my full perception of him that when I'm hearing a song, I'm like, damn, this is a good. Oh,
but then James.
Right. And then I remember, I'm like,
I feel you.
Okay.
I hear you.
So there's just a little bit of it. Like I
understand some of his politics didn't align with mine as well. But when you I'm gonna say politics. I'm gonna use the word politics.
That is putting it more than gently.
Hey, we not even gonna dive into that bag. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna dive into that bag. Let's just go for it.
On that,
bro, I'm having a good time.
Swerving on. We're having a good time here. Let's not change that tone. But yeah, good on him. I mean, I do a summer camp gig, or I did, and because I get to control the aux, that meant they were at my whim. And sometimes it's Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. Sometimes I'm playing Billie Holiday for like 6-year-olds. I'm not taking requests right now. This is just what we're doing. Because it's 9 a.m. and I don't want to hear Baby Shark. I don't want to hear Katy Perry. I'm going to take you where I want to go. As long as it's not, contextually inappropriate, where you're along for this ride. And I can't prove it, but I'm willing to bet it does good. It does good to just put it in their little ears. I play stuff in the car that's just straight up jazz music, like with my kid, and this is just how I regularly listen to music. When I listen to music when I cook dinner, sometimes it's more often than not somewhere in the jazz family, because it's just good atmosphere music. Just speaks to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
Listen,
shout out to Molly for you being on this episode, man. I appreciate your input on this conversation, and I appreciate everybody else influence on this conversation. This has been like, again, not only just my favorite homework, but so far this is one of my favorite episodes. It might be number one, Yeah, I'm gonna say number one for me. This is number one for me. So I appreciate it.
It was fun listening to jazz records all week, just like sitting around the house playing some jazz music and just having a nice time. Just feeling very mature and grown and worldly and just thoughtful.
So what y'all saying is,
Right?
Yo,
Like,
jazz
don't you
really,
feel like a real person?
it like helps you think. Like
It really does. It really, like literally statistically, bro. Like if you talk about
medically,
music that helps people study for like the SAT, the LSAT, and all that stuff, they put on jazz music, bro. So it literally is an influence of intellectual music, bro. Like the patterns of rhythm are good for the brain. You know what I mean? It's just like people like who speak about Africans who speak in a tongue where it's a lot of clicking and sounds. People speak like that because they're very intelligent. It takes a lot for the brain to be able to use all of that into their language. So just think about that when it comes to music. It takes a lot to influence all of those different type of sounds and instruments to be able to make a cohesive sound. Be able to take all these different instruments that come from all different cultures and some that was actually created, you know what I mean, specifically for jazz and make it all sound in a cohesive manner that was never done before. That takes a genius level of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So like definitely the music that we listening to nowadays is way more low vibrational. That doesn't inspire the brain to fart in that same fashion, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, some of that mainstream stuff. So, but what y'all saying is we need to make would it sound like jazz playlist? That's what you
I
telling
was
me?
literally thinking there should
Easily.
be a weekly playlist created for the topic based, of the show, whatever your theme is. After this episode, we're dropping a playlist now. Thanks, guys. The people we talked about, the people that we think you should be on,
I like that.
Branding, just cross promotion. You got the thing, and now I got the thing.
I like
all right, what it sound like playlists? We dropping them. They coming to you. You know what I mean? We gonna get the people what they want. You know what I mean? We got you. You know what I mean?
I used to do that every verses. Like they would put out right before the show, there'd be like a cheat sheet and they just pepper both artists, just a whole bunch of shit, not just like the songs you think they're going to perform, but really they're good shit. It was refreshing, not because you don't remember them, but just it's a way to revisit. It's maybe some, B-sides that you hadn't heard in a while or ever. And just, it's really useful to have corresponding playlist with the podcast. Big fan of the idea. First time caller, long time listener.
I mean, it's season 2, so we're gonna step it up. You know what I mean? We're gonna playlists. You know what I mean? We got a whole interview next week. You know what I mean?
Yes,
serious business.
Make sure you tune into that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this vocalist tournament is coming, bro.
Yeah,
it's coming. All right, so I wanna ask y'all now because we gotta, how we did with the lyricist tournament. We just threw a ton of names into the bag, and then we just eliminated until we got our number we wanted.
It can only be one.
I need names. I'm gonna need an abundance of names so we can start mowing through this list of everybody.
We're gonna drop them in the chat.
No problem, Bob.
We talking about for the vocalist tournament, right?
Vocalist tournament
now,
coming up.
Before we move on to album of the week, are there who are your automatics? I need just give me 3
for the vocalist
from each of y'all.
Whitney,
give me 2.
I already saw that coming.
2 people that automatically should be in this 2 or 3 people that should be in.
I want Adele in there.
Okay.
You hear me?
Mariah.
I mean, I want to see where she rank in all time type of situation.
She stole mine, so there it is.
Yeah, Jennifer Hudson definitely.
Now you gotta come up with another one. Be on your toes. I hope you only got 3. Three number 4.
I can't in good conscience not include no dudes. It will obviously be less dudes, but not no dudes.
Let's not do that. We got some amazing male singers that have put some female singers to shame. Let's not go crazy.
I'm just saying that when we're talking vocalists of all time,
it's probably going to be a woman, bro.
It's going to be a lady. And a man will give a very fair shake before he loses.
Like Luther.
So,
You got
Yeah,
Luther.
Luther, Mike, Stevie, Marvin
got-
Gaye.
Man,
Mike-
what?
all great
You know
options
You know what I mean?
to lose
But
to the
is-
Still my boy Sam Cooke. Still
Is
not
any
going
of
to
them beating
Teddy
Whitney?
Pendergrass. All them. Listen,
again.
His
Really
She
name-
said
though.
Maxwell. Respect.
second. place
Probably not
guys.
beating Whitney though.
Really
Yeah,
great.
well, listen. I said it from the rip when we broached the idea of the tournament that Whitney Houston was going to win.
I'll
Like
give you
The answer is the answer. You know who
we,
versus
we
tournament.
know for a fact that Whitney Houston is winning.
You do the exercise for the.
We're doing
for the
homework.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We just want to
Yeah,
see.
Whitney
We just want to
is
see who
amazing.
actually.
But there's other people that do different things with their vocals that Whitney ain't hit like that. Like that high pitch. Who doing that like
Whistle
Mariah
register.
Carey?
We're talking whistle register. Okay, yes, Mariah gets Whitney on the whistle register because Mariah can do it and Whitney could not. I mean, she could hit like a high C, but she couldn't carry you to like the F like Mariah could. That's okay. That's fine. But there's, I mean, when you're naming fellas.
Them dog
No,
nuts.
I mean, who stands next to either one of them too? So it's really it's just Mariah versus Whitney is the moral of the story.
Nah, whistle register will only be one. Will only be one
I don't
category.
belong in the vote.
Period.
Peter Baker is one of my favorite singers of all time. So
Favorite is not the
respect to
same as best.
I know.
We have to-
I said what I said.
Hold on, Usher.
Anita's in there.
Usher up there.
Patty's in there.
Usher up there.
Aretha
Definitely.
could punch
Patty,
somebody.
Aretha.
Patty, Gladys
And-
Knight. Don't
and
play
Ray
with
Does,
it.
does John
Gladys
Legend deserve
Knight.
a spot or no?
Oh,
I'm
and
like,
we start
Yeah,
bringing
John
in
Legend.
Marvin Sapp.
all right.
Yeah,
I mean,
Marvin Sapp.
When
That's
we
another
get
one.
in
You know what I mean?
when we start off, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it might be a fat boy to win this because them fat boys can sing.
They're the only ones who can
Any
go.
boy that's big and can sing, that boy go crazy.
The
Definitely.
only one maybe
Just
seeing
hold
Whitney is
the
like
territory.
Pavarotti.
That's why people prefer
Drake
Big Luther
Edwards.
over Little Luther.
Woo, Minnie Rippington. Yo, that's a good
Also
pick.
great. Also good
Yeah.
whistle register entry. Yet she doesn't
Ooh,
have
Yolanda
the bottom.
Adams.
So a lot of times you have the
Oh
top.
yeah, Yolanda Adams definitely.
Minnie at the top. She didn't have the bottom. She couldn't
Definitely.
really carry the bitch like some of the
Now,
other.
Oh, yeah,
you,
I'm
got, you,
going-
got, you got some guns on you, Phil. I saw that. Yeah, okay. Zell be
Yeah.
easy.
What deal?
Shit. Beyonce, bro. I don't know why nobody.
Oh yeah,
nobody-
yeah.
I was
Of
trying
course,
not to say
Beyonce
it too
is
early
definitely-
so everybody wouldn't be like, shut your ass up.
We not gonna sit
No.
here pretending like
Beyonce and Usher
Beyonce
should
vocal
be
range
in
is
the
not crazy.
Yeah, Beyonce is gonna be in there.
Beyonce and Usher should be in the running.
I wouldn't have this tournament if Beyonce wasn't in it. You know what I mean? I would cancel it.
It wouldn't be real if she wasn't
Yeah.
in the running. Like, let's be fucking serious.
Yeah,
Nah,
her
let's not-
definitely.
I don't know of her, but I definitely think that Chloe and Halle can also be in this conversation. But I don't know about her. Her is
Listen,
great.
I would say Chloe and Halle are.
That's
more-
also jazz
singer
influence, by the way,
than
too. Her has a lot of jazz
Definitely.
music.
I'm definitely throwing my girl Kiki Wyatt in this joint. She be on it.
Mm.
Ooh,
Etta.
we've been BB and CC in there.
Oh yeah, Etta Bond.
And Amon.
Yeah.
I was supposed do we have to do them the same, or like do we have to enter them as one?
Yeah, is it
Or
is
can
it
we-
BB
I
one?
mean, BB and CC, they a package still.
They have to be
together?
one unit.
Yeah, they one entity. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? You gotta get them both.
Yeah, that's like having gold tinks and trunks. I mean, that's a little nerdum for y'all, but it's they go together. So your package.
Yeah.
We go together. You gonna get hit with both of these jokes.
All right, so we pretty
E and
much
J.
got a feel of who gonna be in. I mean, it's still probably a bunch.
There's gonna
of
be
names.
some more. I'm gonna get
It's
some.
just-
I gotta go in for the males. We gotta
There's
go
still a
in.
bunch of names we ain't even named, especially like dudes. You know what I mean, you need to say like a Brian McKnight. You know what I mean, like, come on, it's men
No,
that could be in here, but Whitney.
Shit, Chris Brown might even get a spot.
No, stop. No, see, immediately. That's where I knew it was gonna go.
Chris
I knew it was gonna go
Brown.
off
Nah,
the
Chris Brown. Nah, I'm not behind Chris Brown. Nah.
Is that what we doing to Chris?
Yeah,
I'll put the weekend in before Chris Brown.
What?
Now you said who before Chris?
The Weeknd. I put him in the
All right, I
fifth.
thought we was having
Yeah.
a serious conversation.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. He
I'm
sings
sorry.
better than Chris
No,
Brown.
you said Chris Brown.
I'm
I
just
thought
saying,
we was
but-
having a serious conversation. My
Bro, The
fault.
Weeknd
Chris Brown?
sings better than Chris Brown by a
Here's the
fucking
thing,
mile.
Let's,
You know what I mean?
come on, I thought
Wait, now, all right,
you
now,
could have
now,
left
now,
that alone.
Bro,
Let's get real quick.
You could have left
Oh,
that.
No.
Brian
The
McKnight.
Weeknd is smoking Chris Brown. I'm
We
sorry.
all got
All
Brian
right,
McKnight.
bro. That's gonna be the next post I
No,
put
Chris
on
Brown
our
is
on our
smoking The Weeknd in
what is
a
it? Not
real
Twitter. What's the
fashion.
other one we use?
TikTok.
TikTok. It's going
Bro.
on TikTok, bro.
The
It's
Weeknd
going
is
on TikTok.
smoking Chris. In the
I don't see
whoever
it.
watching Chris Brown versus The Weeknd, who y'all got?
I don't
'Cause
see it.
The
cuz.
Weeknd
Don't
is
care what
smoking
nobody
it.
says.
He's gonna sing better if Chris Brown doesn't smoke the mic
Bro,
first.
The Weeknd wins. Are you serious?
Right?
I'm
The Weeknd
very
has
serious.
hit-
As a heart attack.
The Weeknd has worldwide hits, like hits with the kids. Like,
Oh, speaking of, hold on, real quick. While we talking about all these great artists, another motherfucker that is amazing that we
More
talking about jazz
soundtracks.
still being alive. Bruno Mars. All his music is influenced by jazz.
yeah,
That
Anderson
bump
Paak.
music is jazz.
You hear Anderson Paak
Yeah.
shit?
Yeah.
Some jazz shit.
That's
He
facts.
gives me more of that like soul record, which was clearly influenced by jazz.
Right,
but
but
like,
the
it was
music
moving
and the
more-
instruments that's played for his beats, that's all jazz. That's the
Yeah,
reason why
okay.
a lot of people get
Yeah, no,
mad at him and be
no,
like, "Oh,
no.
he claims pop music when his music was
No, you're-
influenced by
you're
jazz."
right. I think actually maybe someone in his band follows me on Twitter.
It's
The
fine.
saxophonist. I believe. Okay, no, I will take that. The jazz band that works with him, they're legit.
Facts. And who's that? Who's the day? Who's that?
Masego.
Yeah.
Masego.
Masego.
Jazz. It's not dead, bro. Like I'm just, you know what I mean? I just want to put a
Yeah,
a
no,
cost
very
on this.
strong
Like, it's not
colors.
dead, bro.
Right
It's
in
not
color.
dead.
Right now.
Yeah.
We
I
still
would
got
think
Ari
he's
Lennox too.
pop.
Like I can keep
Yeah.
going.
I know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
Anderson
more
Paak
so to me
is
than
crazy
Bruno.
jazz right there.
Yeah.
To me, more so than Bruno. Anderson is just living, breathing.
Yeah,
like
Anderson Paak is a crazy amount of jazz.
he's just jazz smashed in the face with like Parliament Funkadelic, and then you get Anderson Paak.
All right, y'all about to sewing up? We there at the marker or?
Yeah,
I mean, listen. And
y'all got any jazz fusions y'all like? Because I got this Japanese jazz joint that's kind of fire. You know what I mean?
Did it?
yeah, I mean, y'all, what's up with the jazz fusions? Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all the show. I mean, it don't gotta be an hour. Like, I mean, if you wanted to talk music for 2 straight hours, it don't. You know what I mean? It's our show. We can talk however long we want to. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm definitely trying to hop into that Japanese jazz. You know what I mean? I think that might be a crazy.
It just shows like how prominent jazz is like across the globe. Like they took that jazz and they integrated it with a like little J-pop type of sound, and now it's Japanese jazz. Like this is crazy. You know what I mean?
That album I sent you was from the 70s.
How
It's
large
from
is
the
the
70s.
Japanese
I think we gonna have what, like a good at least what? Probably at least a good 30 at
Yeah,
least.
it's gonna be 32 participants.
That's
Can we get more than 32?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've run tournaments before. The most I'll go is 64. So if y'all want 64,
lot.
we
That's
could
a
do
lot.
that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how they do the March Madness, 64 teams. So we can get 64
Yeah, bro.
64 singers. You know what I mean?
What?
Yeah, come up
Oh,
with
it's
60
easy to come up with
It's
64
it's a lot of it's a lot of singers.
quantity
Yeah.
over
We're gonna
quality.
We're gonna
Huh?
start the list. We're gonna see who if we can get 64 of actual really good
That's what I'm
top
saying. Quality or
vocalists, then
quantity?
we're gonna do
I
it.
think you could.
Yeah.
I think you could.
I
Come
think
up
you
with
can, too.
64 singer, like just singing.
Like we probably gonna have like Tyrese in there, but it's gonna be singing singers.
Don't make that.
Fine.
Now, stop doing that face, bro.
I am
Chill
sorry.
out. So you mean you're trying to tell me Tyrese is not a good singer? Is that
I
what we
wouldn't
doing?
So Tyrese winning that joint. I mean, what you
Like,
mean?
All right, now we going crazy.
I'm like,
I
Now
got
we going
Tyrese.
crazy.
I got Tyrese over Whitney.
Crazy.
Tyrese Whitney in the finals. You know what I
Come
mean?
on, man. I ain't gonna go that far.
you
but
just say anything.
yeah, we.
Anything.
In fact, I got the
Nah,
finals.
They do
y'all didn't
anything
say
for clout.
y'all didn't say who y'all got. Brian McKnight or
All right,
Tank,
we didn't
yo.
get to the Tank.
Brian McKnight or Tank.
We put them in there.
Brian
Wait,
McKnight versus Tank. Who y'all got?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. Vocals. Who y'all got? I'm going Brian McKnight.
Brian McNeasy.
Yeah,
Probably
McNeasy.
going. I think I'm going Brian McKnight as well. On that
Yeah, I'm
one.
gonna go with McNeasy on this one.
Okay, from the what it sound like, you heard it. Brian McKnight smoking Tank.
Oh,
I
or we don't have a violation clip on this joint.
Oh,
No
We
violation.
don't do the violation on here. I'm sorry.
I'm
You know what I
sorry.
mean?
people just be talking over here.
That's my bad, but I mean,
Yeah.
Just you wild for that.
Damn that. Yeah, I would maybe take Joe over Brian
It's a
McKnight.
smoother
But
take.
yo, can Tank get higher on the?
That's what I'm
on
saying.
the-
I don't know about that.
He go up the
We
more
saw
decibel.
what he did on the Marion versus
Don't count that.
versus Mario.
Nobody showed up. We all missed it.
Oh, best versus of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Either that or everybody who appeared on that is disqualified. Except, wait, who was the one who sang all right?
If you start the year,
Mario.
Jadakiss and
Right, Mario is the only one who could still sing.
So now we turn on Ray J.
yeah, and I think what's stop playing with me. What's the who's the other dude that showed up? Not what who said? Not Ray J.
Who? Jeremiah.
Not Jeremiah. Who's the other one?
Sammy.
Sammy did good. I don't care what nobody said.
No,
Sammy,
he
Sammy
didn't.
still got it.
No, he didn't.
Sammy still got it.
All right, look. All right,
We don't have
hold
to
on. Hold on. My boy Jose just came in here. All right,
Dell said he didn't.
All right, look.
Really?
We talking about jazz right? We talking about jazz right now. Can you tell us what jazz does? Jazz mean anything to you?
What does jazz mean to
do
you?
like?
Jazz?
Yeah.
Jazz music.
Oh, BMT said
Jazz flute.
I really want you.
he don't see jazz played like that except in movie shows and other ethnic groups.
Yeah, we just-
Right.
All right, Jose.
Right
Don't,
off the top.
What's
Jose
y'all thought
don't know-
about that?
wait, what he said? I don't see jazz played
Don't
like
see
that except
nothing
in
wrong.
movies, shows, and other ethnic groups.
Well, what does that mean?
All
Where
right.
would you see it played?
I don't know what to do with that, bro. Jazz, yeah, that's how you can, because jazz isn't like mainstream right now. It's still, you know what I mean.
It's still sampled.
Hey, BMT, if you wasn't here for the whole convo,
Everything.
you know what I'm saying? You got to hear the whole. Hey,
All right,
Phoenix,
listen.
leave it alone. Leave it
I
alone.
wanna-
All right, nobody else
Did you
said
say
nothing but you.
blacks?
Chill out.
Blacks
Who
play
did
it
what?
in cultural festivals.
All right.
Who said that? Who says blacks?
This is the,
Unless you're white.
Let me be honest though. So like, you know how we was talking about jazz and all that stuff, right? So jazz is like some people look at it like people who are black jazz musicians want to change the name from jazz to something else like black music or black cultural music because apparently the word jazz is derogatory because it means like a sexual connotation. Like
whoa,
it could
no,
be like it
no,
could be
jazz.
it's supposed to be like another innuendo for like sex, like jizz or something like that, and they just changed it to jazz. Just hey, that's what my teacher told me. But
Remember they mentioned that in the
I heard that.
documentary. They said it. You know, the word jazz literally means nothing. It sounds like jizz, but it's just an umbrella term, but it doesn't mean.
What I found out. Where's my? I had a note there. What I found out was that the
Andy
earliest
Dandy?
the earliest written record of the word jazz came from like an article in Los Angeles Times where it describes like a pitch and it's like it calls it a jazz ball because it's like a little like wobbly. And that's kind of in the way that they are using the word jazz seems like the way that you would use like I guess like an onomatopoeia kind of like the way it sounds is the way it is. So that kind of
Almost like a
that
nonsense
little
word.
that little jazz, that kind of little mess up on it, that little style, that little flavor that you put on it. That's kind of what I get from the word jazz. Is more of like it's like a feeling like jasm. I think I think I had something in here on my phone, but my phone died. Something about the word jasm, like that's what it
I'll look
really
it up.
what it came from. Is JAS and then M. You know what I mean? So that's what I pretty much heard, that jazz, like the origination of it, you know what I mean, was that like they kind of used the not the pitch, but used the term.
JASM?
Yeah, JASM. And they kind of was using that word just to describe what kind of music it was, because it wasn't no technical music. It was just kind of like something that was kind of thrown together.
A way to describe
what I
the
mean?
fact that they're just playing music that they didn't write first.
It says definition
Yes.
of that. Yeah, definition of JASM: zest for accomplishment, drive, energy. You must have. JASM is if you want to amount to anything in this world.
It was what they said it was called pep energy. It was the pep energy, is that energy that
That's kind of
pushes
saucy.
you.
I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of
Yeah,
saucy.
pushes you past that.
If you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere,
You better wake up and pay attention. Hello.
Listen, I'm about to watch Sister Act after this.
Yeah.
No, but before we get into any other conversations, you know what I mean, we gotta get to the album of the week. You know what I mean, because that was on the docket for the topics. You know what I mean? So sorry, I gotta be the buzzkill. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But the album of the week. Album of the
What are we
week.
looking at?
What is that?
Oh, we need words under it.
It's the album is Fire Sign by Braxton Cook. That's the album.
Hey, that cover is fire, by the way.
I like it.
I get it. Fire.
Hey, he got the Michael Jackson uniform on. Okay,
Yeah,
I see you.
Like the sax. I like the sax swinging on the floor.
Yeah.
Keep that up.
But the album is Fire Sign
That
by
beat it.
Braxton Cook.
Boom. Boom back. Quick. Download it. Add it to your library.
Yeah, that's
Scratch now.
it's the album of the week. You know what I mean?
I
I'm
said-
definitely gonna check it out. That's not a review. We didn't check that out yet. I think Holly Hood checked it out himself, and he's putting this all on.
Since we giving out like topics of like reviews and stuff, since you know we all talking about jazz and whatnot, I want to talk about the documentary. We didn't talk about the documentary or the jazz artist that did the documentary, but I want to give a shout out to Gil Scott Heron. I feel like,
bro.
yeah, we ain't talking about him,
Gil
but
Scott Heron.
for y'all who don't know, listen to Gil Scott Heron.
I mean, Who Will Survive in
Watch the
America?
documentary.
Who Will Survive in America? That's my shit. I mean, but
Whitey on the moon.
Whitey on the moon.
yeah,
Right?
bro.
Hey, he went crazy on that.
Televised?
I mean,
Crazy
Come through.
bars.
In fact, fantastic example, because he was one who would do that sort of. It was almost like a spoken word, but there was like a beat behind it a little bit. It wasn't rap because it wasn't like a song, but it was like a poem that he's performing, and there's a little bit of a drum, a horn behind it, and just really, yes, good, strong entry.
Yo,
The
you know what?
Tubi documentary, it's free. Go watch
Is
it.
it just me, or does Hollywood hat kind of look like Mojo Jojo helmet?
Wow.
Oh my god.
Am I wild?
They got jokes for days over here, bro.
I was. That's what it reminded me of. Am I tripping?
Nah, you're not.
it's definitely I got it from the Powerpuff Girl collection, Forever 21. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
It's
dope.
lit.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I definitely didn't though, but you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a regular hat. You know what I mean?
All right, but yeah, man.
What a
It's
fun
been-
brown liquor and jazz conversation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it ain't brown, but it is colored. So
Listen, man. This has been the first episode of season 2. This is season 2, volume 2. You know what I mean? And next week, like I said before, we have an interview next week. You know what I mean? Craig, man, let us know who we'll be talking to next week.
So
Let the people know.
You know, one of Cali's finest, Nakina, coming out of Los Angeles. I'm not sure if it's Compton or not. I ain't got an interview with her yet. I guess the princess of R&B. Check her out. You can type in her name, Nakina, on YouTube. She just came out with a new album. Her music is fire. It sounds crisp. It sounds mastered. I'm loving it on some McDonald's shit. So if y'all want to tune in, you know what I'm saying? Tune in, and you know what I mean, our next episode we will give a full interview and we will discuss a little bit more about the best vocalist, since we're gonna have a vocalist right here on our first interview with the What It Sound Like podcast.
Testimony. Get somebody for real to weigh in. It's important.
Yes, sir. But that's next week. You know what I mean? We have an interview. Natina will be sliding through talking with the What It Sound Like crew. You know what I mean? Bars. I mean, and we'll also be getting into some vocalist talk. I mean, we're gonna have a singer on, you know, her vocals is tight, so we wanna know how she feel about, you know, the criteria for the vocalist tournament and who are some of her favorite singers. Things of that nature. You know what I mean?
You got the flyer that I made, bro, to like show the people, or no?
No, I don't, but I'll be posting it out throughout the week. You know what I mean? On all our pages. You know what I mean? You know, doing some heavy promotion. You know what I mean?
All right.
But before we get out of here, you know, I know we was on some jazz, and like I said, the who said that joint, it don't have to be rap. It don't have to be a rap joint, but do you have one? Because if you don't,
all right, if you got one, you should have told me. I thought we was taking turns. I would have came up with one if that was the assignment.
It is your week. It is your week, but all right, Holly.
I feel like he capping. He got the smile like he don't really got no lyrics though, for real.
You don't got nothing. Oh, yo, Hose, give him that lyric from.
Yeah.
I can come up with him right now.
Give us that lyric, Jose.
Why do this to me?
Oh, wait, I
he
know
said.
Hold on, wait.
All right, this.
Oh, I knew a different one, not yours.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I don't know.
Mallory got one.
I don't know the
Okay,
one.
bet, yeah, Mallory ain't never did one. Go ahead. I was about to look up one.
The one that I thought of, just because it was the first one that came to my head. I went down to St. James Infirmary. Saw my baby there. He was stretched out on a long white table. So sweet, so cold, so fair.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Now, question: is this a singer or a rapper?
It's kind of dark.
Singer, I guess we'd say singer.
Billy?
Singer.
Is it Billy?
I got a feeling that it's
Holiday.
That's what I said. I said Billy.
I
got a feeling.
What you got?
Say it one more time.
I went down to St. James Infirmary, saw my baby there.
Mm-hmm.
She was stretched out on a long white table.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet, so cold, so fair.
Bars.
I'm gonna say Louis Armstrong.
All right, what's your guess?
I'm just say Louis. I'm gonna say Louis.
I'm gonna go with Billy too.
I got 3 for Billy, 1 for Louis, and 1 know it in the comments.
And one know it. You can go ahead and vote, Lolita.
Miss Jones.
Yeah,
What does
drop
it
it.
sound like?
Yeah, drop it. Yes.
Drop it.
What does it sound like?
Yeah, what it sound like? What it sound like?
Hey, I know this is
when she
hella
hold on,
off
when she
topic,
said,
but Mallory, when
yeah,
you
I
did
know
this in sign language, that means color. I just want to let you know.
Color?
Yeah, this means color.
Color or colored?
Color.
Okay. I don't know if we're in the
You want? Where's your mind at,
Jim
Mallory?
Crow of things.
A lot of Jim Crow. My God. Color.
All right.
Color.
I think
If you want to say,
by the way she said, I know this one. I think she meant like, oh, I know this one. Like, but she's
Oh.
thinking, you know what I mean? So
Okay,
Okay. Well, the answer, at least the answer that I was thinking of, Louis Armstrong.
Damn.
oh, you motherfucker.
I mean,
Damn.
St. James Infirmary is a
Boy,
state.
when he said it was a her, I was like, okay,
Dozens of
it's
people
probably
have
more than
seen
likely a dude. But then Billy.
What? I mean, hey, hello.
So it was like it was a possibility.
Yeah, that's the one. I know that's my girl.
Missed it. What she said?
She said, that's the Louis one. It's not true. So yes, that was the one, and it's just like it's a jazz standard, so lots of people have sung it, but that's the one. That's the one I prefer. I like the most. It's excellent. I have been asked like my favorite horns on any song of all time, and that's my top 3, probably first one. The horns on St. James Infirmary, divine. Just a work of
Can I
art.
chime in real
So
quick?
I want to ask the question. Go ahead, comment. Go ahead.
Oh, just on the chime in on the horns, right? So in jazz, right, as y'all know, we got liberated in the Civil War. So after the Civil War, a lot of those trumpets from the military was left behind. So the slaves picked them up, and that's when they decided to add it into jazz music. So when you start hearing horns and all that stuff from jazz music, that's why you hear it, because of that war that happened, they had access to that, and that's the reason why it got implemented into the sound.
Did not know that.
White folks probably like, I never heard no horn sound like that.
I didn't know it could do that.
Horns can do that?
How'd you do that with that?
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Oh yeah. My question was, since we were talking about horns, but it's a totally different instrument. What song has like the best bass line, your favorite bass line? Like for example, for me, so like a Papa Was a Rolling Stone or Pusher Man by Curtis Mayfield. I know the first one that comes to mind.
Man,
the first one that comes to mind might be my
bro.
favorite, but I can't tell because it's just the first one. It's not actually left field. I was going to say it is, but it's not. It's actually Seven Nation Army.
That's
White
a
Stripes.
good one. That's a good
is
one.
one of my favorite bass lines.
No, that's my shit.
That's a really good one, yo.
Dum, 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 and then the drums. Like while he's just listen, that bass goes for a fucking walk. And Jack White is another white who is no slouch when it comes to actually studying the entire full history of blues music and jazz music and studying under the still living legends. Jack White is actually fucking there. That's a story for another day.
Jack White.
Goddamn. Like he's like one of those, maybe he sold his soul to the devil to play as well as he did type motherfuckers, because there's no reason
They
you
shouldn't be that good.
as good as you are. You don't have to be that good. You can just be okay.
How y'all feel about
Nigga.
Sorry.
what about the Billie Jean bass line or another one by
What? Stop playing with me. What? Yeah, that was hard.
No, hard.
Like you look just.
I was thinking of Michael Jackson too when we were saying it. I'm like, man, baseline. I'm always thinking MJ though.
All right, we gotta chill. All right,
we're gonna get copyright.
We got
Yeah, Billie Jean Jones.
Nah, we might get flagged for that bass line, the White Stripes.
No, we won't.
That's all you gotta do.
No, you don't. You gotta play it for real. I can bounce.
No, we'll be all right.
I know it's gonna sound crazy because we talked about the white aspect, but the Red Hot Chili Peppers Give It Away. That's one of my.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I know it's.
I know Craig do other
genres.
Listen, another one of mine is Feel Good Inc., bro.
Oh, that was my shit.
Damn, that's a great one.
That was my shit. The Gorillas.
Who else?
Yeah.
I mean, we're really going now. We can do System of a Down.
I was going to get into System of a Down. Toxicity.
Listen. All right. You know what? Another story for another day. Another episode.
Yeah, we gonna listen. We've been here for an hour and a half. We're gonna have another episode where we get into this specific topic.
What, rock? We talking about rock right now.
Yeah. You know, we're gonna talk about some rock. It's season 2, baby. It's not just hip hop this season. We talking everything.
All of the things.
I forget what was the rock band who was the famous drummer. I forget his name, but he just did an interview with Pharrell, and he was like, "Bro, how did you come up with the sounds you did?" And he was like, "Oh, bro," he said, "I stole from the Gap Band." I don't remember his.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm talking about? Who was his name, bro? What band was he from?
I forgot.
He's a famous rock. He's part of a famous rock band. I forget.
How like a crime?
Listen.
Was it Dave Grohl?
Yes.
Was it Dave Grohl was the first one I thought of.
Yeah, he said I stole all that from those guys. And he said I told him one time too. Like he was like, yo, I had to thank you for all the.
Yeah, he said that. He said, yeah, I know. He said, yeah, I know.
You got me
It's
famous.
like, yeah, you think I hear that? Like, come on, bro. You gotta tell me that.
You gotta tell me.
I mean, I guess you're telling me for you. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't need any of this. I wrote it. So.
Yeah, bro. You know what I mean? When it's real, y'all could tell.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you can see it in their
You can
eyes.
see it in their eyes. You know what I mean?
That's my nigga.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Geechee Gotti.
it was
You know what I
it was
mean?
Dave Grohl. Yeah, that's him. So I just wanted to.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of battle rap, I'm sorry, but Summer Madness is coming.
Oh, what? Oh, that's shit I'm talking
It
about.
feels like Summer Madness again.
Summer Madness is coming. JC versus Surf.
I was pretending.
You got Rock versus Swamp. They just announced Easy versus Calico. You know what I mean?
Yo, what is up?
Stop.
What is
Stop.
up with y'all gun
I already saw
titles
where you going with
wars?
this.
Y'all gun titles always taking these easy battles. What's up with y'all?
Come
What you
on.
mean? This Calico, you seen what he did to Chess?
What Chess after he threw up?
I'm so tired of you disrespecting Chess
Like
like
he threw
that.
up like
I'm so tired of
he
you
threw up
disrespecting Chess.
he threw up in 3 out of 3 rounds, and y'all gonna act like
Come on, bro.
But
This
was
Calico we
the
talking about.
bars fire though? From the bars that you heard, was they not fire?
Yeah, he does.
They were.
You mean
I
Come
mean,
on, man.
Come on, man.
this Calico we talking about, bro.
like
I got easy.
Calico has been coasting his like the last like 5 years. Not
Nah,
doing,
we not gonna get crazy. We not gonna get crazy. We not
bro.
gonna
He
get
came there half-assed. Like
he takes
He's
Like-
battled the top battle rappers within the 5 years. So
just
we can't
because
say
he's
shit.
battling them, just because he's
He
battling
is
them, doesn't mean that.
And he beat him. Some of them, not all of them, but he beat. You know what I mean? Yo, Calico don't really lose like that.
No, you really don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. And the ones that he lose, it be debatable depending on like, you know what I mean, how you look at it.
Listen, we caught her together.
Oh,
Bet.
gosh.
But did we watch that, John? Because I know I did.
I
I
was-
literally
watched it.
just watched that with Zell. He just put it in the
Nah,
chat.
man.
That shit went crazy. Shout out
Nah,
to
man.
Lolita. Yeah, that shit was crazy. That shit was
Yeah,
fire.
definitely. Shout out to Kendrick, man. The art. Listen, that's why he the fucking GOAT. You know what I
Kendrick,
mean?
Kendrick
He's
getting
the
into
GOAT.
his acting and
You know
directing.
what I mean? The artisticness, like his artistic innovation, this shit is crazy.
It's
Don't give me to start talking about Kendrick right now. I'm sorry, man.
And shout out to the winner to the first lyricist
I didn't
tournament,
watch.
man.
What's that
Yes.
song?
The God MC. You know what I mean?
I didn't watch Power, so I didn't see Kendrick doing like acting. Isn't
He
you know,
did good. He
Was
he
did
on
good
that
power.
song?
He killed that John. I ain't even
He's
gonna
on
He
hold
did
that.
a good job.
I didn't.
You don't
see
see
that.
him in his music videos.
That's
He's
what I'm
acting
saying.
in his
He-
music
yeah,
videos
like, you
all
can-
the time.
No, I
His
mean
facial
like.
expression, like all
No, no,
that.
no.
In this
like-
one where it comes across like literal dialogue, like it comes off like a play, like a scene, like
Okay,
you're
I
written
get
for
what
the
you're saying
stage.
now.
Did you watch These Walls, the music video? Like
Probably
he's
not.
acting in these.
I probably didn't.
I'm
watch it.
just like I'm just saying he's in a lot of music videos where he's acting like, and then they go into the song. It's not like
Next.
he's
Yeah.
acting by reciting the lyrics. Matter of fact, you even see a fraction of his acting when he's doing the Heart Part 5. When he's actually like grooving to the music and changing and like manifesting these characters as he's rapping. Like
Well, like dancing along to your song, I guess I see it differently than like where that song. is-
Somebody's a critic.
It sounds like dialogue. It sounds like a conversation. So to watch it play out, looking like a conversation, well, an argument between two people, it passed. Literally, actually, everything except the end seemed believable to me. So,
that's how
I'll
all
give
that
it that.
shit in though.
I just want to give a shout out to
Never
What It Sound Like podcast. They came a long way. This is season 2. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Zell. Shout out to Mallory. Shout out to Krillin. You know what I'm saying?
Knew it was coming. So I'm like,
It is.
You gotta
Hey,
settle
bro,
in.
we done came a long way, man. Thank y'all for supporting. Thank you to Lita. Thank you to Aisha. Y'all can name off the rest, but I just appreciate for the consistent people who view the show. Y'all been some real ones. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that this podcast is taking it to new heights. I'm looking forward to these new interviews. We're gonna have a lot of shit coming to y'all. I'm assuming season 2 gonna be fire, but I'm assuming season 3 gonna even be better. So let's get it.
Yeah, I guess this is signing off. You know what I mean, Zono Bell. Y'all gonna find me here next week. Gonna be
we're gonna get into this interview, get into some new material for y'all to pick up on. Again, Mallory, Jose, and my peoples. You know what I mean? Thank y'all for showing up, and thank the audience for listening. You know what I mean? Thank
Love
y'all
it,
for
man.
y'all showing out. Shout out to Phoenix. You know what I mean? We've been rocking with us the whole time, and yeah, man. I'll let y'all. I mean, y'all want to sign off? So where can we follow y'all, man?
Go
Hollywood.
ahead, Chris.
Yeah, man. Hollywood Sensei of the Blur Cartel. You know, anywhere the Blur Cartel is, that's where I'm at. But you can also follow me on Instagram at Hollywood Sensei. You can follow me on TikTok, Hollywood_Sensei215. Follow me on Twitch. I'll be on there playing a lot of Assassin's Creed, Hollywood_Sensei. And then follow me on Twitter, Sensei Hollywood. And also see me every Thursday at 7 o'clock on What It Sound Like. You know what I mean? That's where you should be going to first. You know what I mean? All that other stuff I said, you go to that afterwards.
Light.
But
Secondary.
That's light.
Secondary.
come here first. You know What It Sound Like. We got a Twitter.
Afro rest.
We got an Instagram. We got a Facebook page. We got a YouTube that I'm about to start uploading a bunch of videos on, and we got a TikTok. You know what I mean? So, you know, if you really like the show and you fuck with us like that, you know what I mean, hit the subscribe, hit the follow. You know what I mean? And we will see you next week. You know what I mean? With our interview. You know what I mean? First interview. But yeah.
Who is the lady we're interviewing again?
So her name is Nakina. Princess of R&B. You know what I'm talking about? Straight out of Cali, straight out of LA. You know what I'm saying? So definitely check her out. It's your boy, the comment, KJN_man.510. Catch me on Universal Debates. Catch me on the Round Table. Catch me on What It Sound Like podcast, where you get your best interviews, your best music, your best opinions about music. You know what I'm saying? Catch me on the Blur Cartel. We doing well. Signing out.
Sure. Yeah.